You walk into the store. The wall of TVs hits you like a brightness cranked to maximum. Demo content designed by the manufacturer specifically to make their panels look incredible. Colors that don't exist in nature. Motion that looks too smooth to be real. You pick the one that costs $1,800, the premium model, the one with the OLED panel, or the mini LED backlight, or whatever the marketing department called this year's flagship. You bring it home, you set it up, you watch a movie that night. It looks great. Maybe not as great as it looked in the store, but great. 6 months later, you sit down to watch something. You notice the home screen feels a little slower than it used to. Apps take an extra beat to load. The remote pairs on the second try instead of the first. The picture is still beautiful. The premium is still there. Sort of. By month 10, you're rebooting the TV occasionally. By month 13, you've started looking up whether it's for a flagship TV to behave this way. Spoiler, it is. It happens to almost all of them now. The premium feeling lasted about a year. And the worst part is, you can't really explain to anyone why it doesn't feel premium anymore. Because nothing has technically broken. It just feels cheap now. The demo mode that doesn't exist at home. Here's something almost nobody tells you when you're standing in the electronics aisle. The TVs in stores are running in a special mode. It's called demo mode or showroom mode or some manufacturer-specific name. Settings cranked beyond anything you would actually use at home. Brightness near maximum. Color saturation pushed past realistic. Motion smoothing on the highest setting. That mode would burn your eyes out in a normal living room. When you take the TV home and set it up in its default configuration, you're seeing a completely different picture. Less punchy, less vivid, slightly disappointing in a way you can't quite articulate. People go online. They search for why their new TV doesn't look as good as the one in the store. They find threads full of other people asking the same question. They learn, for the first time, about demo mode. They feel slightly betrayed. The TV is fine. The TV is genuinely capable of producing a beautiful picture. The expectation was the product. You paid for the showroom version of the TV, you got the living room version. The plastic that felt premium for about a week. Pick up a flagship TV from 2014. The bezel feels solid. The remote has weight to it. The buttons click with a satisfying precision. The stand feels substantial. The whole thing communicates quality through touch. Pick up a flagship TV from 2025. The bezel is plastic. The remote is plastic, lighter than it should be, with buttons that feel slightly mushy. The stand is plastic, sometimes wobbly out of the box. The back panel of the TV itself is plastic so thin you can flex it with 2 fingers. The picture is better than the 2014 model. The build quality is dramatically worse. This isn't accidental. Manufacturers have been racing to thin TVs out and reduce material costs for over a decade. The savings on plastic versus metal multiplied by millions of units is significant. The consumer doesn't see the change immediately because the TV is mounted on a wall or sitting on a stand and they don't really touch it much. But every time they reach for the remote, they feel it. Every time they pick up the TV to move it, they feel it. Every time they look at the bezel up close, they notice it. The premium feeling lasted about a week. The remote that started failing first. Here's the small piece of the experience that quietly ruins ownership. The remote on a premium TV used to be a thing. Heavy aluminum or weighted plastic, backlit buttons, tactile feedback. It felt like an object designed by someone who cared. The remote on a modern premium TV is, in most cases, a piece of cheap plastic with a touchpad that doesn't quite work, a microphone that mishears half your voice commands, and buttons that occasionally stick. By month 8, the volume button doesn't always register. The directional pad sometimes acts like you pressed it twice when you only pressed it once. The dedicated app buttons, the ones for Netflix and Prime Video, and whatever streaming service paid for placement on the remote, start to fail intermittently. You take the batteries out, you put them back in, you unpair the remote, you pair it again. The TV works fine when it works. The remote is the problem. A replacement remote from the manufacturer costs from $40 to $90 for a piece of plastic. You buy a universal remote instead. The one that came with the TV ends up in a drawer with all the other dead remotes from previous TVs. There's always a drawer. That's the part people get tired of. The software that was already outdated at launch, this one is worse than people realize. When you buy a premium TV at launch, the smart platform on it has typically been in development for about 2 years. The chip inside, the operating system, the app integrations, the interface design, all of it was decided in a design meeting somewhere around the time the TV was being prototyped. By the time the TV ships, the platform is already showing its age compared to what's possible. The chip is 1 or 2 generations behind what a smartphone of the same era uses. The interface looks slightly dated compared to current trends. The voice assistant is noticeably worse than the one in your phone. But the marketing doesn't mention this. The marketing talks about new features, new picture modes, new processing algorithms. It doesn't mention that the brain inside the TV was designed years ago. By year 2 of ownership, the gap is obvious. The TV's interface feels old. The smart features feel old. The voice assistant feels old. The whole platform feels old. The picture, the thing the TV was actually designed to do well, is still great. Everything around the picture is aging poorly. The TVs looks beautiful. The TV feels outdated. The apps that started disappearing, this catches premium TV owners completely off guard. You sit down to watch HBO Max. The app loads. It crashes. You try again, it crashes again. You go to the TV's app store to see if there's an update. The app isn't there anymore. You search online. You discover that your TV's platform was abandoned by the streaming service, or by the manufacturer, or by both. The app technically still exists somewhere, but not for your model. You bought the $1,800 premium TV. You can't run a standard streaming app on it. You go to Best Buy that weekend. You buy a $40 Roku. You plug it into the back of the TV. The Roku runs every app perfectly. The TV is now a screen for a $40 piece of plastic. The premium TV cost $1,800. The cheap streaming stick is doing all the work. The apps died before the screen did. The subscription layer inside the TV. This is the new frontier of premium TV ownership that almost nobody talks about openly. The free streaming services that come pre-installed on your TV are not really free. They're ad delivery systems. Open one of them. Notice how aggressive the ads are. Notice how the home screen of your TV itself, before you even open an app, has become an ad platform. Notice the recommended content that's actually sponsored placements. The premium TV is selling your attention. To anyone who wants to buy it, you can turn some of this off in settings. The settings are buried. You have to dig through 3 menus to find them. Some manufacturers have made the settings sticky, meaning they reset themselves after firmware updates. Some manufacturers don't let you turn them off at all. You paid $1,800 for a TV. The TV is also selling ad space on its own home screen every time you turn it on forever, for as long as you own it. That doesn't feel premium. That feels like something else. The local dimming that quietly got worse, this one is sneaky, and most owners never figure it out. High-end TVs are advertised based on their dimming zones. The more zones, the better the contrast in dark scenes. Reviewers test this and report the numbers. Manufacturers compete on the numbers. But what reviewers test and what consumers buy are often slightly different products. Warehouse-exclusive models, regional variants, mid-cycle refreshes that quietly reduce the zone count. The model you bought might have fewer dimming zones than the one that got the great review last year. The picture in dark scenes might be slightly worse. The blooming around bright objects might be slightly more obvious. You don't notice immediately. You don't have the previous year's model sitting next to yours for comparison. You just know that the picture in dark movies looks slightly muddy, slightly washed out, slightly less impressive than what the YouTube review showed. You blame your eyes, you blame your room lighting, you blame the content. The actual answer is that the TV was quietly downgraded between the review and the purchase. That's not a defect. That's the business model. The repair that doesn't exist, a premium TV breaks. The screen develops a vertical line, or a section of pixels goes dark, or a board inside fails and the TV won't power on. You call the manufacturer. They tell you the repair cost. For an OLED panel replacement, the quote can run from $1,000 to $2,000, plus labor, plus shipping the TV to a service center, plus weeks of waiting. The TV cost $1,800 new. The repair costs almost as much. You hang up, you stare at the broken TV. You realize there is no economic path forward except buying a new one. Some manufacturers don't even bother offering repairs for certain models past the warranty. They tell you to recycle the TV and buy a new one. There is no service path, there are no parts available. The TV is officially disposable from the moment the warranty expires. That sentence used to be reserved for $30 electronics. Now it applies to $2,000 TVs. The burn-in that wasn't supposed to happen for old TVs specifically. There's a quiet problem that owners discover after about a year. Image retention, or sometimes permanent burn-in. The CNN logo from cable news, the score ticker from a sports broadcast, the dashboard from a video game, the channel logo from a specific app. Any static element that appears in the same spot on the screen for hours at a time can eventually leave a ghost. Manufacturers know this. They include software features to mitigate it, pixel shifting, logo dimming, screensavers that activate after a few minutes of static content. The mitigation works mostly for normal use, but premium TV owners who use their TVs in ways the manufacturer didn't anticipate, like leaving cable news on for hours, or using the TV as a computer monitor, or playing the same video game for long sessions, discover that the warning labels in the manual were serious. A burn-in repair is in most cases not a repair, it's a panel replacement, which costs almost as much as the TV did new. The TV still works. There's just a faint ghost of a logo permanently visible on the screen. You learn to ignore it. You tell yourself it's not noticeable. You position the couch slightly differently so the burn-in is less visible from your usual angle. You never trust the TV the same way again. The soundbar bundle that stopped talking to the TV premium TVs are usually sold with the expectation that you'll add a soundbar or surround system. The TV's built-in speakers are notoriously thin. The marketing acknowledges this. There's a whole accessory ecosystem. The problem is that the ecosystem doesn't always talk to itself reliably. You buy the matching soundbar from the same manufacturer. You set it up, it works beautifully for a few months. Then one night, the volume controls on the TV remote stop adjusting the soundbar. You have to use a separate remote. You search the settings. The Lagedrim ARC connection has gotten flaky after a firmware update. You fix it temporarily. It breaks again the next month. You try to update the firmware on the soundbar specifically. The update process is buried in a hidden menu. The update fails. You contact support. Support tells you to factory reset both devices and repair them. 45 minutes of your evening gone just to make the soundbar talk to the TV. This is what premium ownership looks like in 2026. Configuring devices that should have just worked. The workaround became part of ownership. The power supply that started whining. A small thing that nobody warns you about. After about 8 to 14 months, some premium TVs develop a faint, high-pitched whine when they're displaying certain content, especially dark scenes. It's the power supply, or sometimes a coil somewhere on the main board, vibrating at a frequency you can just barely hear. Not everyone hears it. Younger ears tend to pick it up more easily than older ones. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. You search forums. You find threads going back years for various models. People describe the exact same whine, the exact same conditions, the exact same frustration. Some swap the unit under warranty and get the same whine in the replacement. Some learn to ignore it. Some sell the TV and buy a different brand. There's no fix. The whine is a manufacturing tolerance issue that the brand officially considers within specifications. The TV cost more than $2,000. It hums quietly during your movies. That's not premium. The quiet inversion of what premium means, this is the part that took most owners a few years to fully see. In the 1990s, premium meant the TV was better built, lasted longer, and worked better than the cheap one. The price premium correlated with actual durability and quality. In 2026, premium means the picture is genuinely better on day one, but almost nothing else is. The build quality might be marginally better than budget models. The software platform is identical. The smart features die on the same timeline. The remote is the same cheap plastic. The repair situation is the same impossible math. You paid more for a better panel. You did not pay more for a TV that will last longer, feel better over time, or maintain its premium feeling beyond the first year. The picture is the only real difference. And the picture, for most casual viewers, isn't dramatically different from a mid-range TV after the first few weeks of comparing. Premium became a marketing word. It stopped meaning what it used to mean. The honest truth about TV shopping in 2026. If you're considering a premium TV purchase, the practical advice is uncomfortable. The picture quality jump from mid-range to premium is real but smaller than the marketing suggests. The build quality jump is minimal. The software lifespan is identical. The repair situation is identical. The long-term ownership experience is, in most ways that matter day-to-day, identical. You're paying a premium for the panel, nothing else. Whether that's worth it depends entirely on how much you actually watch carefully. If you're a cinephile who watches movies in a dark room and cares about black levels, contrast, and color accuracy, yes, the premium TV is worth it for the picture quality you'll actually appreciate. If you watch sports, sitcoms, and YouTube in a normal living room with normal lighting, you probably can't tell the difference after a month. The mid-range TV would have been fine. You paid extra for a better panel that you don't fully utilize. Either way, plan to use a streaming stick from day one. Plan to replace the TV's remote with a universal one eventually. Plan to accept that the smart features will die before the panel does. Drop a comment with a premium TV that started feeling cheap to you and how long it took. The replies are going to look uncomfortably similar across brands and price points. Somewhere in a basement, there's a 15-year-old plasma TV that still turns on every time. No apps, no subscriptions, no firmware updates, no demo mode, no remote that fails after 8 months. That TV cost less in real terms than the premium TVs of today. It just kept working. That's the part that should make all of us pause before the next purchase.